Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. The last AEW show of 2021 was New Year's Smash. So while Tony Khan was having his issues on Twitter, he promoted this show. Probably not the best idea to use a takedown of one of your former talents as an opportunity to have a commercial for your show. It's not really the right idea. It's not the right thing to do. Ain't smart, but I mean, Tony Khan is very impulsive and he's very sensitive. But we're not going to talk a lot about Tony Khan here. I just thought it was weird that a lot of people who are out on New Year's Eve and stuff like that, they may have forgotten about this show. And then they see that this show is attached to it's essentially a diss tweet. And it was very odd. Very, very odd. But let's talk about this show. Because one of the people he mentioned in that tweet was Anthony Bowens, who is both black and gay. We gotta start making sure we check all the boxes, because that's what we want. So Anthony Bowens is both black and gay, and he is wrestling Darby Allin. He lost to Darby Allin, though. The only thing about this that was good was Max Caster rapping about Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine Maxwell. He wanted her locked up, and I do too, and I'm so glad that she's going to go to prison. But she got arrested for selling underage sex slaves, essentially minors. But we were not allowed to know who she was selling them to. We were not allowed to know who the names of any of the Johns. Very interesting stuff. I mean, there's a long history of, prostitutes not getting arrested and the Johns getting arrested. That's a long history of that. That's a revolving door with the prostitutes. But the Johns usually always go down. But in this situation, we arrested the sort of the middle, I guess you say the middleman of this whole ordeal. And the Johns are just going to get away. Funny how that works out. But I'm glad Max Caster was based enough to say this on TV, and I give Tony Khan credit for letting him say it. It's not exactly a controversial thing. He could have made it a little bit more controversial, like unseal the documents. But hey, I'm asking for too much. So just want to give Max Caster a shoulder slap for, at least mentioning that she need to be locked up. Okay, so Sting beat up Max Caster outside the ring, which of course he did. After the match, after the coffin drop and the pin, this match was far too long for what it was supposed to be. Andrade, look at me, I'm Andrade El Idolo. He came out there and very slowly took off his sunglasses. Very slowly, very deliberately. I guess old Darby Allin piqued his interest. And while they were looking at Andrade, because of course you should be looking at Andrade, look at me. And all of a sudden, they get blasted in the head with boom boxes. Him and Sting. And they get knocked out and beat up by the Acclaimed. And I'm like, all right, this could be interesting. Darby Allin versus Andrade could be very interesting. All right. Don't mind that. It's something for Andrade. He's not likely to win this match because they don't do feuds. They may do a match. He's not likely to win that match, but at least it's something. At least he's not sitting on the bench forever. Andrade is in a very interesting space because before Tony Khan went and blew the internet up, he was trending because it was like, what did WWE do, and what is AEW doing better with Andrade than WWE? And it was a good question. I don't know what the answer would be, but he doesn't come across as being much different, except for he feels about the same to me. I think the presentation is probably better in AEW because they give him more of a spotlight. He with the mask and the pinstripe suit, and the introduction of Andrade was probably bigger and better in AEW, but the work is about the same. Andrade was featured quite a bit his first short time he was in the WWE because he had that run with Ray. Had some really good matches there. He had some really good matches with Pac in AEW, but it took us forever to get there. Now, WWE gave him a lot of downtime. He didn't like that. He also was kind of liking tweets that was talking about the downtime that he was getting in AEW when he wasn't really doing that much. And they kind of course corrected a little bit, and that's how we ended up getting the Andrade making deals with the Pinnacle and all that kind of stuff. What happened to that, by the way? Is that over? Is Andrade no longer making deals with the Pinnacle? I mean, I haven't seen any follow up on that in any event. And then he kind of has these spurts of he goes away and then he comes back. He goes away, then he comes back. And that is probably a little bit better, as at least he's coming back. With WWE, he wasn't even coming out there. It was just weeks and weeks and weeks of nothing. Nothing. But I think that the mentality of AEW towards Andrade is probably a little bit better. And I think that's the major difference, if there is one, is because they care so much about what's going on in the ring. They don't care that he can't speak English. They're like, so what? Half the roster can't talk. 90% of the roster can't talk, actually. But everybody's just going to just throw him in the ring. And so he at least has that going for him, where he's going to get thrown in the ring and it's not going to be 4 minutes. It's not going to be 3 minutes. He has the opportunity to get over in the ring. And I think that's the major difference between AEW and WWE. That's always going to be the difference between WWE and another wrestling promotion. Is that WWE is not going to let you go out there and waste 20 minutes of the fans' time and you're not over. Very, very, very rarely are they going to let you get away with that shit. But AEW and all these other wrestling promotions, oh, absolutely, they put you in a 15-minute match and nobody knows who you are. And they'll do it every single time and think that it's a great thing. You're getting exposure. It's like, yeah, but there's people walking away. There's people going to the concession stands. There's people not coming to the shows. But so I think that's been the major difference. Is even though Andrade really isn't even over in AEW either. I think he's probably more over in WWE because people felt bad for him. Now he's in AEW. Nobody even feels bad for him anymore. So it's like that's the kind of the downward spiral of being in AEW because everybody feels bad for everybody in WWE. When you're not moved or you're not doing anything in WWE, everybody's like, oh, that poor guy. It sucks so bad for him. Poor Drew Gulak. They're not doing anything with that guy. But then as soon as he goes to AEW and he's not doing anything or he's jobbing out or getting beat up, it's just kind of like, we don't feel bad for you anymore. Because it's not like you're being bullied by the big bad WWE or the big bad Bruce Pritchard or Vince McMahon. It's just we don't have time for you. It's just like there other people are more important. So it's easier to get fucked over in AEW or somewhere else because you don't have that sympathy. People aren't looking at you as you're some poor put upon pro wrestler at that point. You're just another guy on the roster. So I think that perspective has helped him a lot. But AEW is basically just using him in certain spots. And I saw somebody try to say that he's being featured as a special attraction or something like that. Like, come on. You have to be over before you can be a special attraction. He's not Andre the fucking Giant. He's Andrade El Idolo. Look at me. Anyway, I spent way too much time on that. So they did a thing with Hook where Taz was breaking down Hook's maneuvers, talking about Hook inventing a suplex, and I'm almost certain he didn't invent because I'm pretty sure I saw it before. And of course he told about the Katacha Hajime, the judo choke, which has been renamed the Red Rum. They're really pushing. They really got the gas on Hook. Hey, I ain't mad at it. Play the hot hand, I guess. All right, so now let's talk about this ridiculous gig match that they decided to have on this show. Anna Jay and Ty Conti versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford in a street fight. Because there's a street fight every single goddamn week somewhere in wrestling. somewhere, and I don't want to count GCW. I don't want to count that because they have death matches and stuff like that all the time. That's literally a part of their gimmick. But the other wrestling companies, specifically WWE, Impact, AEW, or whatever, gimmick matches like a street fight should be rare for people who are in long-term feuds, and they've proven that the rules can't contain them. That's the whole point of the whole no rules thing. Every match type should have a reason. You have a cage match because one guy keeps running away. Or you may even replace the cage with a bull rope or a dog collar or something like that to keep the guys together. Makes perfect sense. You would do an I quit match. If you're trying to humiliate a guy, embarrass him, end his career, make him say I quit, make him, break his spirit completely. Street fights are for, repeated disqualifications, repeated people using weapons outside either the match or even in the match. A guy keeps hitting somebody with brass knuckles, or he attacks somebody with a kendo stick or a steel chair, and it's like, oh, we got to even the odds. We're just going to throw the rules out. And sometimes a street fight should really be in the street. Otherwise, it's just a no disqualification match. I don't know when wrestling decided that everything is a street fight, because there really is no functional difference between a street fight, a no disqualification match, and a no holds barred match. They're usually all the same damn thing. It falls count anywhere, because there is no count outs, no disqualifications, and falls count anywhere match. So it's all just a matter of branding at that point. I miss when people would say a thing and it would matter. You would say street fight, and they would show up in street clothes, and they would actually go out into the street and brawl, or at least backstage and brawl. Like last man standing literally means last man standing. A street fight should literally mean a street fight. Fighting in the street. But that's just me being a dickhead. Anyway, 2 people were bleeding in this match. They decided to gig. Less than 5 minutes in, Tainara Kanti was bleeding from, I guess she got hit in the head with a bottle. And the bunny had bladed. She had gotten really, really good juice. And I lost interest in this because I was like, I don't understand what they're feuding over. I don't know. They talk about, well, this is a match that's a year in the making. I'm like, what? What? A year in the making? Since when? Since when? But I had to throw my hands up, dog. I was like, whatever. I just tried to enjoy the cartoonish nature of it, but it just came across as so damn silly. You got Penelope Ford doing a moonsault off the top rope, tried to put her through a table, Tay Conti. Instead, just laid her thighs on Tay Conti's face, and the table didn't break. She almost broke her own damn neck. And I was like, huh? Later in the match, they got thumbtacks out because everybody's got to do thumbtacks and fire and everything. Everybody's got to do it. And the bunny slipped in the thumbtacks. She was trying to walk and slip right into the thumbtacks. She did the splits. I'm pretty sure that was part of the show. But I was just kind of like, shrug. And then Anna Jay, and Anna Jay is barely a wrestler. And now she's a deathmatch wrestler where she tied her own arm in barbed wire and put the bunny in a chokehold, and the bunny quits and she taps out. And I say to myself, imagine the Attitude Era, and all of a sudden Stacy Keibler just pulls out thumbtacks and fire and shit. You like, how did we get from, pretty Instagram model, taking cute pictures and all that kind of stuff, to now you're willing to wrap yourself in barbed wire? How did we get there? We saw no growth in the character that takes us from, pretty Georgia Peach, which I'm pretty sure she was when she was a little magician or whatever, and she joined the Dark Order. She wasn't tough then. She was getting knocked out with brass knuckles. She wasn't tough. And all of a sudden she's so badass that she's, wrapping her arms in barbed wire and rolling around in thumbtacks and bleeding and everything. How did we get there? How did we get to Tay Conti being this person? None of this makes any sense for these characters. You can have a no disqualification match, I guess, But for it to go this far, and it's all, of course, just attempting to, reinvent the wheel because it worked for Britt Baker, so we're going to do it again and hope that if we just keep having women bleed on TV, they'll get over. But it's like, I don't, whatever. The people who like this kind of stuff, this is the kind of stuff those people like. That's the Jim Cornette line. It is what it is. I thought it was nonsense, personally. I thought it was kind of goofy. And I was like, it's not believable that somebody like Anna Jay or somebody like Ty Conti would be involved with thumbtacks and barbed wire and all that kind. It's just not believable. Penelope Ford and shit. Come on, man. It's not believable that they would even get involved with this kind of stuff. So no, I'm not buying into it. You can have, tough matches for the women without, or if you're gonna, all those times that let's slow down because I was about to move forward, but let's slow down and help Tony Khan a little bit. All those times that the bunny was punching them with brass knuckles, why didn't you introduce the blood then? That would have been an interesting a time to introduce that these women are fighting, a bloody feud. That the bunny was sucker punched Anna Jay in the face, and then maybe Anna Jay got some color. You could have did that on Dynamite. It'd have been like, whoa. It made sense because you got brass knuckles. She busted her open, So now we're taking this thing to the next level. People would have paid more attention. Because she hit her in the head with brass knuckles like 10 times, didn't she? So one of those times had to strike some blood. Boom, we could have done it on TV. Had Anna Jay bleed or even Ty, have her bleed. And now we have the reason why they want to have the street fight, why they want to take it to the next level. And you got the bandages on the face, so it don't want to take much to get the blood started again. You still might not need the thumbtacks and the barbed wire and all that because the characters don't need that. These chicks are mostly Instagram models and they have cute little wrestling matches. They're not even real 15-minute knockdown, drag out pro wrestlers. It's not their characters. It's not who they are. So you can't just do this and it's cool. It's just no. I reject your deposit. So the main event, Cody defeats Ethan Page in a match nobody cared about. Dan Lambert once again claimed that Cody was making backdoor deals in order to get opportunities for him and his family and screwing over people like the American Top Team who deserves better, who deserves more. Of course, Scorpio Sky got beat up and run off by Dustin. And the only interesting thing about this is Ethan Page got kicked out of the Crossroads. But Ethan Page has as much heat as a cold stove. He's dead in the water. They haven't done. How long has Ethan Page been in AEW? This has been like his 4th or 5th match. They put him in he came from Impact where he was in a tag team, and he came to AEW, with all intents and purposes of being a star. They just shoved him in another tag team. This time with Scorpio Sky, and then they benched him for several weeks until they came up with this Dan Lambert thing. So they've been involved with some high profile feuds, but they have 0 chances of winning. There was no chance at all of them beating Darby Allin. There was no chance of them beating Cody. There was no chance of them really beating Jericho either, even though I think they did win a match once. So he's in the same situation as Andrade. It was just on a lower level. Andrade is a solid enough mid-card sort of upper. If you had to rate Andrade on a scale of 1 to 10 in AEW, you'd be no more than a 7. If you had to rate Ethan Page, he would probably be no more than a 5. So Ethan Page is not going to main event Dynamite against anybody. He probably shouldn't. He's look like he's just going to be a Rampage guy. and then spend most of his time on Dark. I mean, it is what it is. These guys joined AEW for the money and the notoriety. I say go ahead and get it. But AEW really is not doing anything with a lot of these guys. And I would say it's embarrassing, but it's not really. I didn't like Ethan Page anyway. So there. Let me know what you guys think. Like this video. I need more likes. Hit the like button. Don't forget it. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel if you're listening. I know some people listening and don't subscribe. I don't understand why you would do that. Make it easy on yourself. Hit the bell for notifications too. And thank you guys for your time. Happy New Year. Don't get too much. Don't get too drunk. Don't eat too much. And I'll talk to you guys later.